Hi, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about one of the key components to Ayurveda. And again, for those of you not familiar with it, Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old holistic Indian medicine system that I've decided to study. But one thing that sticks out to me that is very important is getting to the root cause of a disease, right? And when I say that word dis-ease, I really want you to hear it that way as opposed to disease, because oftentimes what dis-ease comes from is dis-ease within the body. But what we really want to look for is the root cause. Ayurveda will say that the root cause of all dis-ease is improper digestion. And the reason for that would be that once we are no longer digesting food properly, we're no longer assimilating the proper nutrients and bits that we need out of the food. And so that's causing our bodies to not be able to function properly, which causes things like toxic buildup. Ama is the word in Sanskrit. I was going to say that, ama, but for those of you not familiar with that, that is a toxic buildup of different things that are happening within our body. And the way that this happens is through just daily life, right? Being exposed to the air that we breathe, the foods that we eat. Many times I think about the fact that a lot of the foods that we have aren't even nutrient rich to start with. A lot of times, sadly, the soils that they're grown in are depleted or they've been chemically processed and they're just not necessarily giving us the food, the nutrients that we need. We think we're eating spinach, but in reality, there's really not a whole lot of goodness left in that food for us to ingest. And so let's think about some other ways. I wrote down a list here. Let me grab that. Ways, again, like eating too much or too little, eating too early or too late, different foods that aren't appropriate for our beings. And so when we look at from an Ayurvedic perspective, we think about your constitution. Each person is different. We have our own bio-individual needs. And so we could be eating foods that we've been taught are healthy, and in general they are, but they're just not right for our own body type, and so cause some problems with digestion. Eating with emotions like stress, incompatible food combos. So a lot of times you shouldn't mix fruit with different types of food because that's going to cause bloating and gas and different things to not digest properly. Eating before your last meal is digested, unclean foods. And so again, I mentioned that foods oftentimes don't have the right nutrients in and of itself. So there are ways to burn off this ama. And so the way I think about it is that over time, we have this ama building in our body, and it's not just our body, it's mentally as well. And it can also be spiritually, if we're being very practical about things. It's not just mind and body, it's also spirit and soul. But you can burn off this ama. There are a lot of different ways that Ayurveda would recommend doing that, different types of cleanses, maybe giving yourself a fast for a day to have your body be able to just take a time out for a minute and catch itself up and process out some of those extra toxins. Drinking warm lemon water to start your day every day. That's another one that I've often referred to. But if you're interested in more information on how to remove the ama, feel free to reach out to a qualified healthcare practitioner such as myself or anybody else in your area that studies Ayurveda or more holistic medicines. They'll be able to, again, give you some more advice in terms of doing an actual cleanse for your body. Don't go too crazy with the cleanse on your own in particular if you're not sure what you're doing, because you can over cleanse your body and actually hurt yourself with that by not doing it properly. So you don't want to go about doing that too much on your own. But really what I want to get to is just thinking about the root cause of things. And so over time, if we do our best to keep ourselves cleared of the toxins, the poisonous buildups, our body's just going to, again, flow and move along a lot better. But it's when we put those kinks in there, we've got that poison that's trapped inside that can't get out, then something wonky happens and something sprouts funny over here, like a second head or something weird along those lines. But it's just really important to understand the signs along the way to a disease. If we think about something like diabetes, especially type 2, type 1 too. I mean, there are a lot of signs that lead up to that. Differences in your urine, the way that your body feels, sensations that you're having in your own physical being that would indicate that. But a lot of times, unfortunately, those small little signals that our bodies are giving aren't picked up until it's too late, that it's this huge, big problem. So it's really important that we listen to those small signs as they come along. but more importantly, that we get to the root cause of why something is happening to our body. So if we are having diabetes, for example, and we know what's happening with that situation, that we can make adjustments and actually fix that, not just having to rely on a medicine for the rest of our lives, but we can turn to nutrition and exercise and some other things to help our body shed out the toxic accumulations and to be able to start functioning again. So I hope this makes sense for you guys. As always, I'm just doing my best to help share with some insights and thoughts that I've had along the way and things that I've learned to help to heal my body from a lot of the different things that I've gone through with tick-borne illness. So I hope this again is useful to you. And if you're not able to find a doctor who's willing to help you to really look at the root cause of things, like you're trying to maybe wean yourself off of cholesterol medicine because you understand that your body is capable of helping itself if you give it what it needs and you understand actually what needs to happen. I'm not recommending that you just pull the plug on all medicines or anything like that. Do this in line with your doctor with guidance, but do know ultimately that a lot of the issues that we are experiencing with regard to dis-ease come from nutrition and the things that we do to our body. And so we can adjust things and make them better. Sometimes they're not easy adjustments to make, like giving up sugar, for example, is a very big challenge for a lot of people, but very well worth it in the end because your body can just function that much better without those burdens being put on it. So I hope, again, this is useful. If I can be of further assistance to you, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open for consultations with people. Take care.